Our own particular band song was so terrible, I cannot tell. It's hokey, it's sentimental, but the ones who were 2 years ahead of me had a great one, and I hum it in the shower. I love this song. It comes up, and it goes like this, and it's really, I think, the theme of my life. I'll still sing it, because it goes kind of like this. I may not get it perfectly right, but you'll never know the difference. And it's, with loving song for Christ our Lord, our voices blend in one accord. 'Tis the voice, it is the song of love and labor, labor all day long. Like Therese, his little bard, to sing the mercies of the Lord. The eyes of the world are on Oklahoma.
Sister Helen Prejean has been visiting death row inmates for over 3 decades.
What I have learned over my 25, 30 years crisscrossing the country and speaking about executions with the American people. One is that the death penalty that we say, or people say that we believe in, is not the death penalty we have.
On this morning, she was traveling to the small town of McAllister, home to Oklahoma's death house, where Richard Glossip sits on death row.
The horror of executions is terrible, it's horrible. It's horrible to see a person you're close to, like Sister Helen, walk out of the death chamber, get in the car, walk down the road, vomit her guts out. That's horrible to see. But that horror is nothing like the horror that you see when you see the lives of the people that have committed these crimes.
To believe in the death penalty, you have to accept 2 propositions. You have to believe that some people, by virtue of the nature of the homicide they've committed, and by virtue of who they are, their character, their person, their being, are not fit to continue living. And you have to believe that the law can be sufficiently fair to reliably separate that little group of murderers from the group of murderers, the vaster, much bigger group of murderers.
In 2014, Oklahoma's Corrections Department botched the execution of Clayton Lockett by not properly administering the lethal cocktail directly into his bloodstream. Months later, in January of 2015, Oklahoma did it again during the execution of Charles Warner. This time, they used the wrong drug. In the wake of the first mishandled execution, death row inmate Richard Glossip reached out to Sister Helen Prejean.
Richard Glossip parachuted into my life, first through a letter, and I get a number of letters, but there was something about this letter. His handwriting is very small, and his language is very understated. And dear Sister Helen, if you can help me, I'm innocent. And so something moved me in his letter, and I wrote back to him. And I said, Richard, I've begun to pray for you. I don't know if I think I sent him a picture or something. And I said, I believe you are innocent. Now, when I first started writing people on death row, if they said they're innocent, I just didn't know. Now I tend to believe them because I've been with so many people who, in fact, have been innocent. I knew that it would never be just to accompany him and comfort him as he goes to die, that because the death penalty is wrong, it needs to be resisted all the way and fight might and main that this man should not die.
On this occasion, Sister Helen arrived at the prison expecting to accompany Richard Glossip on his final journey. Fully prepared for the worst outcome, Sister Helen maintained hope for a last-minute stay.
An Oklahoma appeals court granted death row prisoner Richard Glossip a last-minute stay of execution on Wednesday, only hours before he was slated to die. The decision was a response to an emergency request filed by his lawyers Tuesday afternoon. The decision came down at 11:30 a.m., only 3.5 hours before his scheduled execution by lethal injection.
Yes! Richard's gonna live, and oh God, it's so happy, and everybody's talking at one time. He's so happy. It's beyond words.